Humans use these little babies to straighten their hair out.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things only adults notice in The Little Mermaid.
Poor little princess. It's not you I'm after. I've a much bigger fish to...
Ursula, stop!
For this list, we'll be looking at details, references, and underlying meanings from the Disney classic that likely go over the heads of kids. Did you notice any of these while watching the film as an adult? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Chef Louis is insane. Despite brief appearances, this chef makes quite the impression with his French accent, curly mustache, and terrifying personality.
Les poissons, how I love les poissons! Love to chop and to serve little fish.
As emphasized while singing Les Poissons, a detailing of his extreme love for cooking fish, Louis takes disturbing pleasure in turning sea creatures into meals.
Sacre bleu! What is this? How on earth could I miss such a sweet little succulent crab?
Children might find the song comical, but adults realize that the chef's attempts to boil Sebastian are actually pretty insane. He destroys his kitchen while trying to get the crab cooked and is enraged when he fails. He reaches a new level of crazy when he chases Sebastian around again wielding a knife. The vengeful moment solidifies Louis as a sadistic character whose catchy song doesn't distract us from his savage nature.
What are you doing?
No, I was just, I'm sorry, madame.
Number 9. How did Flounder move the statue? As Ariel's BFF, Flounder is well aware that the mermaid loves Prince Eric. So when a hurricane hits and sinks a ship holding a statue of the prince, Flounder sees an opportunity to give a perfect gift. After finding the statue on the sea floor, Flounder puts it in Ariel's secret grotto.
Flounder, you're the best. It looks just like him.
But there's one problem. How the heck does he get it there? You're telling us that Flounder weighs practically nothing and yet somehow brings the ginormous sculpture elsewhere? We don't buy it. And the fact that he also manages to work it through a minuscule grotto opening? No way. We love to see the kind gesture, but the logistics do not add up.
Why, Eric, run away with you? This is all so sudden.
Number 8. Shakespearean references. Paralleling The Tempest, The Little Mermaid's Ariel was named after a character in Shakespeare's play. Even more than the titular character's name, Ariel's storyline is also inspired by the fairy tale of the same title by Hans Christian Andersen. And Ariel isn't the only one whose origins come from somewhere else.
You haven't noticed,
King Triton mirrors The Tempest's Prospero, a strict and involved figure.
I'm 16 years old. I'm not a child.
Don't you take that tone of voice with me, young lady!
And we can't forget to mention the Tempest, magically created in the film, just like Prospero's. Without a high school education, these connections between Shakespearean work and the film's character portrayals are near impossible to make.
I'm really looking forward to this performance, Sebastian.
Oh, your majesty!
Number 7. Eric's decision-making. Kids might admire Prince Eric's mission to find the love of his life and marry. Adults would see nothing inherently wrong with this, though they would certainly question the way Eric goes about it.
He's marrying the sea witch in disguise!
Are you sure about this?
We understand that the prince is pressured by his kingdom to find a wife, but does he really have to get engaged to a stranger he's known for less than a day?
We wish to be married as soon as possible.
Oh, yes, of course, Eric, but these things do take time, you know.
This afternoon, Grimsby.
It's not entirely his fault considering he's under the spell of Ursula's alter ego, but some of the blame belongs to him nonetheless. Those with more life experience would typically hold that the decision to get hitched shouldn't be rushed. So Eric's race to the altar leaves us rather pessimistic, and for good reason.
You're too late! You're too late!
Number 6. Hiding nudity. Throughout most of the film, Ariel is rarely fully covered as she sports a seashell bra with her mermaid tail. There are a few instances where Ariel bears even more skin, which prompted producers to get creative in terms of ensuring that things remain G-rated. The The scenarios include Ariel's transformation into a human with legs when she tries to stand with her new limbs, and when she takes her first human bath.
Washed up from a shipwreck. Oh, the poor thing.
The nakedness makes sense in all of these cases, though shadows, edits, and bubbles keep the scenes Disney appropriate. To innocent minds, the hidden nudity would likely go unnoticed, but things like this don't get past the more attuned, older crowd.
Now, Ariel, I'm telling you, if you want to be a human, the first thing you gotta do is dress like one.
Number 5. What palace did Ursula live in? While annoyedly watching Ariel from her lair, Ursula mentions the luxury she enjoyed when she lived in the palace.
In my day, we had fantastical feasts when I lived in the palace.
It's a passing quote and a minor detail in the bigger scheme of things, but it makes us wonder about the backstory. We're left with burning questions like, was the villainess not so evil before? What caused her to become so antagonistic? Why is she no longer in the palace? Was she banished?
Now look at me. Wasted away to practically nothing.
Banished and exiled and practically starving.
Children understandably aren't as concerned with what transpired, but we nosy adults are definitely interested in learning about Ursula's past. What beef does the kingdom have with the Sea Witch?
I always was a girl with an eye for a bargain.
Answers are uncovered in the Little Mermaid Broadway musical, but not in the movie.
Pathetic, poor unfortunate souls, in pain, in need.
Number 4. Ariel Can Write. Ariel proves to be not so bright and extremely naive, but she can read and write.
You're the one I've been looking for. What's your name? What's wrong? What is it? You can't speak?
This is evidenced when she signs her name on Ursula's contract, in rather impressive cursive, we should add. But as we see later in the film, Ariel loses her voice, making communication with Prince Eric supposedly impossible.
What I want from you is your voice.
My voice?
But the mermaid doesn't actually need her voice. She could just pen a letter to the prince. Using her skills to sign her voice away but not to connect with Eric is equally baffling and frustrating for those who notice the plot hole. Putting her literacy to use would have made things much simpler, though we do admit that watching Ariel try to communicate through charades is pretty hilarious.
What is it? You're hurt? No, you need help. Whoa, careful, easy.
Number 3. The inspiration behind Ursula. Some might not have been aware of this before watching the film, but those who were would certainly notice similarities between Ursula and the real-life star who shaped her character.
That's right. But you'll have your man.
Harris Glenn Milstead, aka Divine, was an iconic performer and drag queen with an influential stage presence. The film's creators drew on that presence when designing the villainous character, mimicking the drag queen's eye makeup, jewelry, and figure for Ursula. Divine's talent is also referenced in the legendary number Poor Unfortunate Souls, a phrase said nearly verbatim in one of the star's past performances.
Poor unfortunate souls in pain, in need.
This one longing to be thinner, that one wants to get the girl, and do I help them?
Yes, indeed.
Without Divine's electric persona serving as inspiration, The Little Mermaid's villain probably wouldn't be so unforgettable. Number 2. King Triton has slaves? Atlantica's ruler exhibits rather unkingly behaviors early on in the film, evidenced by his cruel destruction of his daughter's most prized possessions.
And if this is the only way,
So be it.
Aside from Triton routinely being short-tempered and harshly demanding as a royal father, adults notice that he's pretty much let his merpeople down. His subjects are held captive in fear of Ursula's magic, and it also seems that their freedom is compromised by actual shackles.
His Royal Highness King Triton.
The prime example is when Triton enters a concert hall on his chariot being pulled by chained dolphins. Chained fish pulling Triton's right-hand man Sebastian follow. As kids, we probably didn't even realize what the chains imply, but as adults, it's hard not to conclude how Triton treats some sea creatures.
What have I done? What have I done?
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Flounder doesn't resemble a flounder. The incredibly cute animated character looks nothing like his real-life namesake.
No, I can't swim that fast.
Ariel's tribute to Hans Christian Andersen. With a pose on a rock, Ariel pays homage to the fairy tale that inspired the movie.
She really does love him, doesn't she, Sebastian?
The painting in Ariel's grotto is real. The artwork by Georges de la Tour is known as Magdalene with the smoking flame.
What's a fire and why does it? What's the word? Burn.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Ariel's not a good friend. Upon rewatching the film as adults, it's evident that Ariel isn't really a good friend.
Ariel, wait for me. Flounder, hurry up.
Just take a look at Flounder, the loyal BFF who isn't given a special name. Why is he referred to as Flounder? Sebastian isn't called Crab. Even worse, Ariel frequently takes advantage of Flounder and makes fun of his fears by calling him a guppy.
Ariel, do you really think there might be sharks around here? Flounder, don't be such a guppy.
Perhaps worst of all, Ariel is so obsessed with her own desires that she puts her buddy in serious danger. She pressures Flounder into skipping the Kingdom's concert, knowing he would face consequences, and pressures him into a mission that puts the tiny sea creature face to face with a shark. We're also curious how they didn't just talk to the shark, but we digress. Having your friends risk their lives for your own selfish agenda? Not cool, Ariel.
All right, I'm going inside. You can just stay here and watch for sharks. Okay.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.